revolutions in Egypt and Tunisia. Everybody was waiting to be part of something big. We were all waiting for someone to make the first sacrifice. This was the problem, waiting for the first person to break the barrier of fear and call for the regime to be toppled.
It was no coincidence that the first spark of revolution in Libya was ignited in the eastern city of Benghazi. Religiously conservative, the region had a long history of rebellion against Gaddafi's dictatorship. He'd routinely rounded up political Islamists from here, imprisoning and torturing them. One incident in particular had left deep scars on the community. In 1996, over 1,000 prisoners had been gunned down in cold blood while being held at the Abu Salim prison in Tripoli. Benghazi never forgot its dead.
My son was killed in Abu Salim, and his father became ill with grief. And he cried so much, he lost his sight. He was 18 years old. He was in prison for 3.5 years.
Why was he arrested? Why was he arrested?
Just for praying in the mosque.
So for no reason. He was arrested for no reason.
He was arrested for nothing.
As revolutions spread across Tunisia and Egypt, the Abu Salim families now became a focal point for dissent in Libya. Anxious to stamp out the budding protest, on February the 15th, Gaddafi arrested the family's lawyer, Fatih Terbil, who had lost his brother and 2 other relatives in the massacre.
There were 22 or 23 security men. They came in 6 cars. They said, "You must come with us." Before they left, they searched the house. They took my laptop, my mobile and some private documents. They took me to the headquarters of the Interior Security.
News leaked out of the arrest of Fatih Terbil. The Abu Salim families reacted furiously, gathering outside this building, the headquarters of the National Security. They wanted the release of their lawyer. A delegation was allowed inside to meet Gaddafi's right-hand man in Benghazi, his brother-in-law, Abdullah al-Sanusi.
He said, if you go out and demonstrate, even peacefully, even with your hands behind your back, we will still shoot you. At the very least, you will be arrested. He was very firm. He was hardball in the way he spoke to us. He was not negotiating. He said, I have spoken. This is the law.
But outside the National Security Building, the crowd was growing. The word had spread further, and there were hundreds of people on the streets of Benghazi. They were now calling for the fall of the regime. The Facebook activists could now see that their anger was shared across the city.
The response was amazing. Young people, poor people, lawyers, teachers, doctors. It wasn't just one section of society, it was everybody. It was extraordinary.
Anger was now growing across Libya. On the 17th of February, a huge crowd gathered in this square in the eastern port city of Tobruk. Their focus was a monument honoring Gaddafi's famous green books, which detailed his bizarre political philosophy. The activists had learned from Egypt and Tunisia that for their revolution to succeed, they had to let the world beyond Libya know what was happening. a young chemical engineer, Tawfiq Othman, took action.
Just try. I take my phone and film it.
So you thought, I need to capture this moment?
I think it will be great moment. I see my brother here, and he told me go back to the house and upload it quickly. He told me the internet will cut soon.
That night, Tawfiq locked himself inside an internet cafe and uploaded his video footage.
I was uploading the sections one after another, maybe 5 different videos. The internet signal was very weak. I was praying for the upload to be complete before they cut it off. The section about the Green Book took me about 30 minutes to upload onto YouTube.
The next day, the internet was shut down across Libya. Gaddafi had finally realized that in the World Wide Web, Libyans had a powerful weapon. All of the country's internet connections were routed through one company in Tripoli and could be instantly disabled. Mobile phone networks were also shut down. But Tawfiq's crucial video had made it to the outside world.
Only 2 hours after I uploaded the video, my younger sister called me to say that the fall of the Green Book statue was being broadcast by Al Jazeera.
How important do you think the pictures that you filmed here were to the revolution?
It was very important because when revolutionaries from other cities saw it, they knew that Tobruk had fallen. The pictures had a great psychological impact on the protesters because the Green Book was the most hated thing in the country.
People all over the world could now see that the Arab Spring hadn't stopped in Egypt. In Benghazi, the demonstration turned into a street war when men wearing yellow helmets, believed to be Gaddafi's henchmen, descended onto the streets and attacked the unarmed protesters. What weapons did you have? You were just throwing stones at the police?
Some young people were in charge of filming. Even those who were filming would hold a camera in one hand and a rock in the other.
With the internet now cut off, it was much more difficult to get pictures out of Libya. But thanks to old technology, it was still possible. Over the next few days, Libyans drove here to the Egyptian border in all kinds of cars and battered taxis with memory cards that they handed over to friends and supporters. They then uploaded them from Egypt. On the 19th of February, a funeral march for those who'd been killed in the fighting passed directly in front of the Katiba, the military barracks in Benghazi and the seat of Gaddafi's power.
We all walked down Jamal Street, and we knew that once we got close to the military base, something was going to happen. Because every single young man in Benghazi was marching in this funeral.
As the funeral march approached the Katiba, snipers started firing from the rooftops.
The snipers were targeting people who were active in the revolution. They knew exactly who to shoot. These were professional snipers, not amateurs. They were not ordinary people with guns.
Mohammed and his friend were targeted.
A friend of mine was killed. My friend and I were shooting video of what was going on using his mobile. This mobile I'm holding right here. They opened fire on us.
Scores of protesters were killed, including Mohammed's friend.
What they did shocked all of Benghazi and Libya. The regime was taking revenge even against a funeral. They had no respect for the dead.
The regime's attack on the funeral would be decisive. Faced with orders to fire on the mourners, some local army and police units switched sides, joining the protesters against Gaddafi's forces. The rebels' goal was to take the Katiba.
I remember young men heading towards the military base without weapons, baring their chests and shouting, "Shoot us."
With few weapons, they used whatever they could.
What I really loved is that while we were attacking the front gate, other people were attacking the rear. Every entrance to the base was being attacked. It was a massive invasion. Thanks to the power of our faith and our will to live, we looked as if we were working to a plan, but there was no plan.
Within hours, the protesters had stormed through these gates, and Gaddafi's rule over Benghazi had come to an end.
I was in the hospital that day. We were just under stress in the hospital because we were trying to nurse the injured people. We heard just screaming outside, screaming and gunshots, and so we went out. We just let everything, we just went out, we want to see what's going on. So we saw that people really happy, and they say, we won Katiba war, we won Katiba war. Happy, we start screaming too that day. Me and my friends start screaming.
When the protesters finally got in here, I think they must have been consumed by absolute fury, because what they've done to this place is nothing short of brutal. They've hacked everything that they could to pieces. You feel that they really took the opportunity to have their revenge in whatever way they could. Gaddafi's rule in eastern Libya was now over. But unlike Ben Ali in Tunisia and Mubarak in Egypt, he refused to go quietly. Instead, he vowed his revenge.
للملايين من الصحراء إلى الصحراء